to be able to withstand these times? Where am I supposed to find the courage to stand up to the social pressure, to the stigma of being Muslim, to hold on to my religion and still stand with confidence? Where am I supposed to find that strength? The answer in Surah Al-Kahf is, in times of fitna, hold on to this book. Hold on tight to this book, because it will give you confidence. It will give you strength. And while everyone else is deviating, you can stand straight. قَيِّمًا لِيُنذِرَ بَأْسًا شَدِيدًا مِنْ لَدُنْهُ. That is the relationship you and I have to have with this book. Now, what do you have to complain about when Allah has handed this Qur'an to you? Why do you feel depressed? What reason do you have to complain that Allah is not there for you? If you say Allah is not there for you, maybe you didn't look at the shelf in your home collecting dust that has the Mus'haf sitting there, testifying against you. This is the book we must go back to. And so now let's turn to the people of the book. And in my limited time, I have to be selective in what lessons I'd like to highlight, especially for the young audience here. But actually, the lessons in the surah are timeless. They really are timeless. The first thing I want to share with you is that Allah went out of His way. He went out of His way to say, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ. They are no doubt young people. They are young people. آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ. That believed in their master. Allah highlights their youth. This is important because young people, today when we talk about youth, we talk about the problem segment of our society. The youth are doing drugs. The youth are into filth on the internet. The youth are into popular culture. The youth are easily swayed. The youth are losing their faith. The youth are confused. The youth talk to each other too much. The boys are liking the girls too much. The youth have a situation in the bazaar. I don't like the youth session at the convention, it's too crazy. You hear the word youth, you almost make it synonymous with problem. There's just youth and problem, you know? And it seems like they are the weakest link in our community. Everybody else is okay with their Islam, brother, but we really worry about the youth. Let me tell you something. In this time of trial, the only people standing up for the truth, the only people with the spine and the courage to not care what anybody else thought, and they're gonna stand tall by Allah, were the youth. Our miracle is that when the world will be sleeping, we'll be the only ones awake. Our miracle is gonna be the one where the world is lost in ghafla. The whole world is lost in ghafla, and the only ones awake are the young people. And when these same young people, all they can care about is how many likes on their stupid joke did they get? How many LOLs did they receive? When they keep taking 8 different selfie angles and then fixing the color correction and learning the photo, changing all of that and then posting it, just felt like taking a selfie out of the blue. When you're so lost inside of yourself, when this device is basically your soul, when that's what's happened to you, then you're a lost cause. The enemy of Islam doesn't have to come and destroy you. He already did. You're already done. You've already been cooked. You guys, you have to transcend image. You have to get beyond, social pressure. You have to get beyond what people think of you on campus if you're wearing a hijab. Instead of you feeling sorry that you're wearing hijab and they look down on you, you should feel sorry for them that Allah did not crown their heads with guidance. That's what you should be thinking. You young men over here, instead of worrying about, man, these guys get to eat what they want, do what they want, drink what they want, you should feel sorry for them that Allah dignified you as a human being and kept you away from living an animal existence, pretending to be human. They were sleeping, you would think they're awake, but they're asleep. Allah will explain what that sleep looks like. In other words, Allah Himself will explain point number what? 2. Then Allah describes how they woke up. And when they woke up, what happened? لِيَتَسَاءَلُوا بَيْنَهُمْ. They started asking each other questions. I'll give you some lessons from that because that I think is one of the coolest parts of the story. So they wake up. وَكَذَلِكَ بَعَثْنَاهُمْ لِيَتَسَاءَلُوا بَيْنَهُمْ. So they could start asking each other. So they wake up, now 7 guys in a cave, not the most comfortable sleep, or they didn't think it would be, but it seems like they got some pretty deep sleep. They have no idea that centuries have gone by. They have no clue. They wake up and they start asking each other, قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ كَمْ لَبِثْتُمْ. One that speaks more among them says, how long were you sleeping? How long did you stay? It's really cool that Allah did that, because Allah is illustrating that one of them is more talkative than the others. You have a bunch of guys that hang out and everything's going peacefully, but this one guy, he doesn't like conversations to remain peaceful. He introduces a subject that he knows is going to stir up an argument, and then he's going to sit back and watch everybody eat each other alive, right? So he's just going to throw it out there. You bunch of guys are sitting there at, having some food or whatever, and he's going to throw in, yeah, the Warriors totally losing. And then he's going to just step back, because he knows emotions shall rise, and then everybody, and he's not part of this conversation. He just wanted to watch the circus. So one among them says, he doesn't say, how long were we sleeping? He says, how long were you guys sleeping? It's so good. Kam labithtum. Then one of them says, قَالُوا لَبِثْنَا يَوْمًا أَوْ بَعْضَ يَوْمٍ. We must have slept a whole day. No, part of it. No, not a whole day. Come on. Maybe like an afternoon or something. بَعْضَ يَوْمٍ. And then this got so out of hand that one of them says, guys, who cares? رَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا لَبِثْتُمْ. Your master knows he knows better how long you stayed. Can we leave it alone, please? Can we just leave it alone? I don't want to know how long we slept. The fact is, I'm hungry. Guys, can we not discuss whether this was a whole day or half a day? I need chicken. That is the issue. So when he literally says, فَابْعَثُوا أَحَدَكُمْ بِوَرِقِكُمْ هَذِهِ إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَيُّهَا أَزْكَى طَعَامًا. When a bunch of guys get together and hang out, obviously what is the number one priority? Food. These amazing heroes of Islam, and Allah goes out of His way to say they were just a bunch of guys hanging out with each other, and then they said, man, we gotta eat something. And we need to find the right guy among us who's gonna make the most of this money that we've pulled together. He's gonna go to the right restaurant and order exactly the right amount. Don't give it to this guy, he's only gonna bring 4 bags of ketchup and nothing else. Give it to the guy that's got the right, because one of the guys knows all the restaurants. There's always a guy that knows all the spots. Where are we going, man? And there's always a guy that when they're all sitting together and they're all confused about what to order, I'll have some fries, I'll have a soup too. Shut up, I'll order for everybody. There's always one guy that knows what to do. And they know which one that is and say, you take the money, you need to go. Because everybody else, you have those annoying guys that look at the menu for 30 minutes. I'm thinking, hold on, we gotta get this done, we gotta keep moving. And then he gives them advice about being subtle, don't draw too much attention to yourself, وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ, be very careful and soft, don't make a scene. What did they know? That the guy is going to be wearing 300-year-old clothes with ancient currency from a kingdom long ago and walk into the middle of a mall dressed like Shakespeare, and he's like, I'm trying to not draw attention to myself, And he's going to pass on some shillings at the McDonald's, and then he's going to be like, would that I may have some chicken. You understand what's happening here, right? They're supposed to not draw attention, but this is not going to work out the way they imagine. In other words, when you turn towards the deen of Allah, you don't have to become a social outcast. You don't have to become weird. You don't have to be depressed all the time because you're a person of the akhirah and you have nothing to do with the dunya. These people, yes, they left the world. They went into a cave because their lives were in danger, but they still went back to the restaurants. You understand? We paint an extreme picture that the Qur'an itself doesn't paint. And our youth suffer from this sometimes. They feel like becoming serious about Islam must mean you can't have a life anymore. You can't have friends anymore. You can't have a personality anymore. You have to drop all of those things. Please. It's such a beautiful religion. It brings color to your life. It gives you reason for joy. It's not a reason to be depressed, especially among young people. Now the lesson I really want to share with you. This is the one I might even get in trouble with, but it doesn't matter. Because I'm going to leave now, so I'll be back in the morning. But anyway, so what I wanted to share with you is actually a lesson from this surah that is the least taught. The least taught, in my opinion, lesson of this surah, or this story. Of the 4 ayat I told you that summarize the whole story, the first of them was they went into the cave. The second of them was they went put to sleep. The third of them was they woke up. And the last of them was that he's telling the story for a purpose. And by saying that, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ نَبَأَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ, we're narrating the story onto you for actual purpose. By saying that, Allah is teaching you and me that there is such a thing as learning the story and not understanding its purpose. There is such a thing as learning Islam and forgetting the purpose of Islam. There is such a thing as gaining a lot of knowledge without purpose. There is such a thing. And we have to be careful about learning with what? With purpose. We cannot lose sight of purpose. Everything we do must have purpose. This is one of the most powerful lessons taught in this surah. In order to help you understand this lesson, I'm going to give you a silly example and then come back to the ayat. The silly example will help you frame your mind in the right direction. You have a person who's very successful in business. He's launched several businesses. All of them have become multi-million-dollar successes. And money is no longer a need in his life. And his businesses are running themselves. He doesn't have to spend 8-10 hours a day at work. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He decides that after all of these years of putting work in and running these businesses successfully, he wants to give back to the community, so he decides to go and become a teacher of business. So he goes to a business school and he teaches a business class, okay? Now there's a difference between a business professor who's only taught business in the classroom and a multi-million-dollar success teaching business. Who would you rather take a class from? The multimillionaire or the business professor? The multimillionaire, because he's got real life experience. He's not just going to teach you what's in the textbook, he's going to teach you what's going on in real life, you understand? And you want to take him as a role model to emulate his success. Isn't that the case? So he's a really good teacher, and he decides that one day he's going to teach his students several principles of good business by telling them a story. Because you know, when you tell a story, it becomes easy to remember. Lessons become easy to remember. Of course, Qur'an does that, right? Allah tells stories and teaches lots of lessons through the story, so they're easy to remember. Unless, instead of making a long list of lessons, he'll just tell the story. And you'll remember the lessons automatically anyway. So here's how the story goes. There's a man, he wants to start a successful retail business. He looked at the right location. He searched out the location that has the most foot traffic. He found an appropriate rent. He did a lot of research into the inventory and the quality. He did a lot of work on the branding of his business. Then he set up good customer service infrastructure and he started running his business. And when he's telling the story, what is he telling students to do? Location is important, pricing is important, inventory is important, quality is important, customer service is important. These are things that go into running a good business, yes? One student raises his hand. So, does he wear sneakers or shoes every day to work? Another student raises his hand. So, what brand of toothbrush does he paste with? Oh, does he brush his teeth with? And another one raises his hand. What color socks does he wear? And the professor is just looking at these idiots. I just told you a story, the point of which was for you to learn proper business practices, yes? And you, genius, turn around and all you're telling me is what color socks does he wear? Or what does he eat for lunch? You know, or what kind of car does he drive? Do you not get what I'm talking to you about? Do you understand that you're missing the point entirely? And the student says, well, at least I'm still asking about the same story. Is it possible that people will learn about the people of the cave? And they're supposed to learn how to hold on to their faith and stand with confidence and rely on Allah and all of these things, but get lost in details that don't even matter? Is that possible? Do we do that with Islamic studies? Do we study the story of Yusuf alayhi salam and obsess over what was the minister's wife's name? How old was she? Did they get married eventually or what? Where's Yusuf alayhi salam's mom? I want to know about his mom because Allah didn't talk about his mom, so I want to know about his mom. What are his brothers' names? Do they rhyme? Because the purpose of Qur'an is part of the teaching of the Qur'an is not just knowledge. Part of teaching is what should you focus on and what should you learn to ignore. There are some things you have to learn to not ask. Not every question is healthy. So what does Allah do? He says, سَيَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ رَابِعُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةٌ سَادِسُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ رَجْمًا بِالْغَيْبِ وَيَقُولُونَ سَبْعَةٌ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. Look at these people. All they discuss is they must have been, 3 and the 4th one was the dog, and 5 and the 6th one was the dog, and they even say they were 7 and the 8th one was the dog. Why are they talking about this? Why can't they learn from the people of the cave that they should leave useless conversation? Remember when they were asking how long were you sleeping? What was the answer? Allah knows better. Allah says now again, قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Allah knows better about their number. What do you care? How is it going to increase your iman that they were 7? Aha, 7. I knew it. Because it wouldn't have been epic if they were 5, you know? And then there are some other people who really have a problem with the fact that they had a dog, right? Because dogs are astaghfirullah. If you're from Pakistan, dogs are like shaitan, you know? So then they try to reinterpret the book. The kalb actually means khadim, it's their servant. His name is dog, because they dog, you know what I'm saying? He was their dog. So, what are you talking? They had a dog, it's okay, they had a dog. You know? And even the ayah says, بَاسِطٌ ذِرَاعَيْهِ بِالْوَصِيدِ. The dog had his paws stretched out. How are you going to say their servant had his paws stretched? Visualize this for me, please. You can't just hold on to the book artificially or for your own silly curiosity. You must emphasize what your Lord Himself emphasized. You must pay attention to what He said and what He wants you to know and what He wants you to learn and internalize. One of the most beautiful ayat of this entire story is قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Allah knows better about their number. When do we say Allahu A'lam? When you know something or when you don't know something? When you don't know something, you say Rabbi A'lam, Allahu A'lam. Isn't it? So when Allah says Rabbi A'lam, what is He saying? You don't know. He knows. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. And the beautiful language is Rabbi A'lamu bi'iddatihim. My master knows better about their number. Meaning, were they 3, 5, 7, 85? I don't know. Allah is the one who knows. But then He added something. He said, مَا يَعْلَمُهُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. For those of you that are familiar with the Arabic language, كلمة عدة مؤنث ولم يقل ما يعلمها إلا قليل بل قال ما يعلمهم إلا قليل فعاد الضمير إلى أصحاب الكهف لا إلى العدة. He used the pronoun going back to the people of the cave. He doesn't say, Allah knows their number, nobody knows it except a few. That's not what He said. He said, Allah knows their number, nobody knows them except a few. Meaning most people get lost discussing the number and very few people actually focus on them. We have to be the few people that focus on them, their heroism, their faith, their strength in action. Their desire to leave what they left behind. Now I want to conclude, inshallah ta'ala, just some comments about these young people that are such an incredible inspiration in the Qur'an. Like I said before, they didn't have the Qur'an. They didn't have the Qur'an. They didn't have the greatest miracle of Allah Azza wa Jal. By the way, Allah put them to what? Allah put them to sleep. And this Qur'an is actually one that will keep us awake. Our miracle is that when the world will be sleeping, we'll be the only ones awake. Our miracle is going to be the one where the world is lost in ghafla. The whole world is lost in ghafla. And the only ones awake are the young people. And when these same young people, all they can care about is how many likes on their stupid joke did they get? How many LOLs did they receive? When they keep taking 8 different selfie angles and then fixing the color correction and learning the photo, changing all of that and then posting it, just felt like taking a selfie out of the blue. When you're so lost inside of yourself, when this device is basically your soul, when that's what's happened to you, then you're a lost cause. The enemy of Islam doesn't have to come and destroy you. He already did. You're already done. You've already been cooked. You guys, you have to transcend image. You have to get beyond, social pressure. You have to get beyond what people think of you on campus if you're wearing a hijab. Instead of you feeling sorry that you're wearing hijab and they look down on you, you should feel sorry for them that Allah did not crown their heads with guidance. That's what you should be thinking. You young men over here, instead of worrying about, man, these guys get to eat what they want, do what they want, drink what they want, you should feel sorry for them that Allah dignified you as a human being and kept you away from living an animal existence, pretending to be human. These young people are amanu bi rabbihim. They are the ones who've held on to their faith, the most basics of their faith. I don't expect our young people to become scholars and experts of the Arabic language and tajweed and Qur'an and memorize and all of that. Those of you that are doing that, I'm so proud of you. And those of you that haven't even taken a single step in that direction, you don't know how to recite a single word of the Qur'an, that's not your fault. But the fact that you can still hold on to your faith, and the fact that you can still make a commitment to Allah and say, Ya Allah, I want to be strong. And I know where I'll get my strength. I'll get my strength from your words. So I'm turning to your book, Ya Allah. Make this journey easy for me. Make this journey easy for me. And when you can do that, you watch what Allah does for you. He will do for you what He did for them. وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. We increase them, and we enhance them, and we evolve them in guidance. He'll transform you into better and better people. He'll make you people that other people will want to be around. He'll make you a role model. Here you are looking for role models. You've forgotten that you're the one Allah gave Islam to. You're the role model. You're looking for someone to lean on. You're the one that everybody else has to lean on. Learn to stand up. This book will help you stand up. It is high time that the youth stop complaining. They stop saying the pressure is too high. I don't know how to handle it. You are the people Allah chose for this generation. And Allah chooses the right people for the right generation that can carry the banner of His faith. You're the people that Allah chose. Stop hiding behind excuses.